Thanks.
Casey Johnson, NBC Sports Chicago. Billy, given that you guys have had some troubles this season against, the so-called lesser teams, sub-500 teams, how refreshing was it to see kind of a take-care-of-business victory you led start to finish and have so many guys contribute?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was solid. That they're a very, very talented team in terms of just athleticism, size, speed, quickness. They're obviously young, but with the experience they're getting, they're only going to get better. Last time we played against them was without Killian Hayes and Diallo. They were back. But yeah, I mean, they put pressure on you. Sometimes some of the things we've struggled with, is the rebounding. I think it got exposed tonight some. Some of the turnovers, we were careless in. But I felt like we rebounded a little bit quicker on some bad possessions where it didn't maybe linger. I did think a little bit in the third quarter we had some fairly good looks we didn't make. We missed quite a few, and I think we cannot let that bleed into our competitiveness, especially our defensive spirit competitively. Because I thought we had some opportunities in the third to really, really push out the lead, but they got on the glass and we fouled them too much, and then the turnovers just kept the game relatively close, through most of the fourth quarter.
Thank you. We'll stay in the front row, please.
Billy, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Joe Colley, the Chicago Sun-Times. We've seen these little 2-3 game spurts where it looks good, it feels good to guys after, but then there's this drop-off. Are you to the point where maybe this is different, this actually feels like something sustainable, or in your mind, we're past talk, these guys have to show it? It's nice to say, yeah, things were really good here in Paris, we bonded, we got together, we played well, but it doesn't mean anything if it's not proven on the court. Are you to that point where enough talk?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think that, like I've said this from day one, we've got a really, really good group of guys. I think they're high character guys. I think the chemistry and the way they get along is really, really good. I think there's things that happen inside the course of the game that, whatever words you want to use, distract us, frustrate us, get us down, disappoint. And we go through these droughts where our competitive level of intensity is not where it needs to be. So I thought tonight was a positive step. Like, we had that one possession, I think I maybe called timeout. We gave up like 5 offensive rebounds on one possession, and they just outworked us and out-hustled us. Those are the plays, to me, that change momentum in a game. And in a game you're feeling pretty good. Maybe you get out on the break and you go up by 16, but instead it's like a 10-point game. And it was several opportunities that we had, but we course correct quickly. That's the thing, Joe, that I'm looking to see, is not these 3-4 minutes, quarters, where it's like, what's going on? And then we're down and we try to make this valiant comeback. So, like I said, we just try to keep exposing it and talking about it, but we've got to, we cannot let our offense dictate our offense, our offense dictate our defense, and we can't let our offense dictate our competitiveness. Like, if you're really competing, you just get lost in the game and you compete. So, I mean, to your question, yeah, we've got to do it. We got to do it. Do I feel like, we've turned a corner, so to speak? I don't want to say that, because there's been some other times maybe we felt like it. I think we've got to me, it's all about building. We can't, we had a good win against Golden State, responded, but we also had a situation coming out of the Minnesota game. We gave up 150 points and we responded pretty well the rest of that road trip. But then same thing again, it's like you get these signs. The bottom line is we got to do it every night. We got to come back, and get back. And listen, we'll have some challenges with the travel and the time and all that other stuff, but now we got to come back and do it again, against Atlanta, and then go do it against Indiana. And again, there's no guarantee that you're going to win the game if you do it, but you have no chance of winning the game if you don't. And I think that's what we've got to do. So am I optimistic? Yes, because I like the character and the guys in the locker room. But again, I think we've got to prove that we can do it for a sustainable period of time, and that's the challenge.
Thanks, Coach. Far side, on the right-hand side.
Tim Reynolds, Associated Press. Billy, you'd said yesterday or the day before, I can't remember that, there was an obvious concern about the body clock and the sleep cycle and all that coming all this way for a game. Yet it seemed like you guys hit the ground running. One, how pleased were you with that and the professionalism I think the guys showed in getting their bodies right and getting ready to play here after the trip? And also, can you speak about the atmosphere in there? I know you guys play in quite a loud building, but it seemed like just a pretty cool atmosphere to be a part of.
Well, I mean, I give our medical guys a lot of credit in terms of the direction, the guidance they gave those guys. I give the guys a lot of credit for doing the best job they can with the time change. I didn't know really how we'd respond. We practiced really well yesterday. We had really, really good pop and spirit. I thought shoot-around was the same way today. You know, and sometimes you go into these situations thinking, oh, my God, we're going to be dragging, and we weren't. You know, you just never really know. But I give our guys and the medical guys a lot of credit for the doing the stuff that they had to do to get themselves ready to play. You know, it's obviously a unique situation coming here and playing. You know, I think as a league, you know, when you get a chance to go to a different country and see people that maybe follow the NBA in ways with the time change at who knows what hours of the morning, flipping on games or taping games. It's great for people here in Paris to get an up-close look at the NBA. You know, it makes you realize that the sport is followed so closely around the world. It was amazing that the place was sold out, and the crowd and the enthusiasm. Obviously, the people that showed up to, you know, support it, you know, from the commissioner to Magic Johnson to Joe Kim, you know, Tony Parker. There was a lot of Rip Hamilton. You know, all these guys that showed up. So, you know, it was a great venue and a great experience.
Thank you. We've got our next question. This gentleman here.
Hi, Coach. Sonny Upel from The Sun. You, just on that subject of the NBA in Europe, you came here a few years ago, head coach of OKC. Were you able to maybe draw any comparisons to that previous experience that helped you this time? Obviously, it was preseason, and you played two Spanish teams as opposed to an NBA team.
Yeah, it was the preseason, and we did two games. We did one in Madrid and one in Barcelona. It was a different experience. This was totally different. I mean, obviously, the travel and stuff and the time change was the same, but this is a regular season game, and you kind of know you're going over there, and not that you don't want to win the games, but you're more worried about rotations and guys getting minutes and playing time and getting guys prepared, ready for the regular season. So it's a totally different, you know, I think, feeling. But you know, the one venue both venues we played in Spain were great venues. Were great. This venue here was awesome. So my experiences doing this, you know, just seeing the excitement from the people from the area is great. And, you know, I think the NBA is making a concerted effort to bring the game, you know, really worldwide and at least bring it up close and personal where people get a chance to experience it.
Thank you, Coach. We'll take our final question on the right-hand side as well. Christos?
Last time I saw him was on Zoom, right? Pitch dark outside, you know, huh? There we go, right? Right, Case?
Coach, hope you're doing well, first of all. And in the middle of December, Goran Dragic was really honest, and he said that the team didn't play for each other. But since then, what kind of leap, what kind of improvement do you see from your players about the effort and about the aggressiveness on both ends?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe Joe or somebody asked me this earlier, you know, just the different things that we've gone through trying to create this consistency, you know, how do you do it? And, you know, what do you do? And I said, you confront it and you got to call it out and expose it, you know, and I appreciated Goran saying what he said, because I think at that time, you know, there was probably a lot of accuracy to what he was saying. And not that anybody has a bad or selfish heart. That's not what I'm saying. But like when you miss a shot and it impacts you in a negative way and it takes you 2 or 3 players to get over that, like you're not wrapped up in really competing in the team. And there's a selflessness that takes place that you have to do. Like the guy standing next to you has got to be so important to you. You have to have such respect for him. And I'm not saying our guys disrespected each other, but it's almost like a reverse way of looking at it. I'm letting the team down because I turned the ball over. I'm letting the team down because I missed a shot. I'm letting the team down because I blew a defensive assignment. No, you're letting the team down when it parlays into 4 or 5 possessions after that. So when Goran was talking about, you know, we're not playing for each other, you know, you've got to pick yourself up off the mat because it's a game that's imperfect and you're going to make mistakes. There's going to be mistakes going to happen all throughout 48 minutes, but it's how you collectively respond to overcome what's in front of you, regardless of what's going on. And the more we can play and care for each other regardless of what you're going through individually, is critically important. And that's what this team's got to do. And I think that's the stuff that will create the consistency that we need.
Thanks again, Coach.
Okay,
That's
thank